Good afternoon, all of you. So, have you seen the yesterday's paper? Yes, what do you find? John Rawls. Okay, yesterday we were discussing something. So, something appeared from the yesterday's class itself, but rest of the things also from portion that we have done. Okay. Yes, ethics and law. Then first question, significance for the human and social point of view. ARC recommendations, there was a separate question. Then within the ARC, there was a question on non-partisanship and impartiality also. Okay. Yes. So, like, see, keep doing these things like previous year's question paper and try and find out answers also. Write the answers, get them evaluated. Okay. As we proceed further, so you will realize that, okay, thanks are almost like you will able to manage almost the 100% of the paper if you are in the class. In fact, the issue with regard to the attitude formation, okay, have you seen that question? There are certain attitudes which are shaped because of your family and society, okay, and there are certain undesirable attitudes which exist. What are those undesirable attitudes? There was a question with respect to persuasion also, persuasion and Swachh Bharat. Have you seen or not? If you are not seen, please go and see the yesterday's paper, this year paper, okay? And also the previous 3-4 papers. Okay, so let's continue with our session. That is moral thinkers. Okay, almost we are now in the last aspect, moral thinkers. Moral thinkers. So yesterday I think we have done the feminism. We have stopped at feminism and we are discussing about feminine ethics. Feminine ethics. Okay. So feminism is about women empowerment. Okay, that is a we have seen that is it is about the women empowerment. It is bringing the gender equality. It is about upliftment of the women and bringing them at par with the male counterpart. Okay, so that's about the feminism. We have also seen the 3 waves of feminism. Okay, first wave is related with the political rights. Political rights, and we have seen, though it has started with right to vote, but today we talk about yes, representation, or for that matter, that is participation of women in decision making, okay, at all levels, be it state legislature, parliament, okay, or panchayat, or for that matter, the real empowerment is about participation of any person during the decision making process. So unless and until you make the person participant in the decision making, the real empowerment does not happen. So that's related to the political rights. Second wave of feminism related with the yes, socio-economic rights. Socio-economic rights. So this is basically participation of women in workforce, okay, during like financial independence related things. There are 2 aspects here, social and economical. Social related with the health, related with the education. Economic aspect related with economic independence or employment. Okay, so the participation of women in employment, etc. So that is related with the socio-economic rights. But we have also seen, although the superficially we see that there is a participation in workforce, but still the discrimination continued. Okay, the discrimination that used to happen at the home. Okay, now the new areas of discrimination in politics also, in organization also, we have seen like harassment. There is a sexual harassment at workplace. Then we have also seen discrimination with respect to her participation is limited to the lower class category of jobs rather than like is a phenomena called glass ceiling we have discussed. we have also seen that there is a double burden because patriarchal mindset continued. So therefore, because of this, her traditional role, what she used to do in the past, that conventional role is in, or this employment is in addition to her conventional role. So there has not been an equality with respect to her conventional role. So it is bringing the sort of a double burden. So these are the issues, and with respect to education, girls' education, etc. And the third wave, or the important one we have discussed as a radical wave of feminism. Like a radical way of feminism that they consider the patriarchy is, yes, patriarchy is the most important reason. And this patriarchy is existed in the society. That is about the mindset, male domination. Unless and until this mindset, male domination aspect change, social and political rights may not able to complete the women empowerment. So patriarchy, we have seen family, there is a patriarchy. In marriage, there is a patriarchy. In fact, it's not just related with the marriage and the family, although we have specifically talked yesterday about these two things. But in society overall, even the state, some of the feminist scholars, radical feminist scholars have also analyzed the nature of the state also. The state is also patriarchal because in certain cases, state also discriminates. Say, for example, in case of participation of women in the military or for that matter, the permanent commissions. Okay, nowadays some sort of news is coming that in permanent commission also women's participation can be increased, etc. But there are certain jobs which are primarily reserved only for the women, and something called as pink jobs, jo word hai. So pink jobs are those sort of jobs which are related with the women counterpart, and their participation as a state, as a society, has been limited to certain particular fields. This is like a stereotyping. This stereotyping has happened because of patriarchy. In fact, there are two words, that is sex and the gender. Okay, sex is in the biological term, whereas the gender is social term. Okay, so the one which are the biological differences, this word is biological differences. These biological differences, when stereotyped in the form of social differences. Okay, biological differences is a reality. Therefore, there is nothing as such to discuss that is the two sex are different. But when you use in a socio-economic sphere or as a society at large, when you see gender and you bring these biological differences into the social differences, it is called as a gender. So gender is a mental construct. It is a society's construct, and when they say the gender, so male and female counterpart, and therefore there is a discrimination on the basis of that. So patriarchal mindset में ये जो gender discrimination है, that is more of a articulated by the society itself. Okay, it is articulated by society itself. So therefore the solution also lies in the form of society in order to change the patriarchal mindset. So whether it is a school, whether it is a family, whether it is a marriage, whether it is any kind of institution of society or state, okay, the attitude of looking towards women should change. So that is what we have discussed in case of radical feminism. Okay, so overall the whole philosophy is pro-women, and that is what we have seen. Now that has to be differentiated from the feminine ethics. Now what is it in feminine ethics? Let's say feminine ethics, like the word feminine itself gives us some of the hints. Feminine means something, the features which are more or less related more exclusively towards the female counterpart. Like there are two terms, feminine and masculine. Okay, generally we tend to say that this female is very feminine in her outlook, and the person is very masculine in the outlook. Okay. Now, what does it mean? There are certain characters which are more or less related with the women, which define them. Okay, which define them, such as they are generally related with the care, loyalty, emotions, feelings, delicacy, etc., etc. Okay, so that's important component here, that there are certain things, okay, care, loyalty, emotions, feelings, okay. So these are some of the things which are comparatively or relatively related with the feminine part. Now I'll come to this part again, okay, what is feminine ethics, etc. Before that we'll discuss how this person called Carol Gilligan has reached to this aspect. Carol Gilligan. This is an important thinker under this. Now let me give how she has reached to this particular thing. I'll make you understand what is this masculine. And again, see, there was a person called Kohlenberg, and he conducted one experiment, okay, who was a master, or you can say that the person under whom the Carol Gilligan was working. Now this person or the scholar has conducted one experiment, okay, experiment or sort of a case study was there, and survey was conducted on that basis. Now what was this case? Case was like paying attention here. There was a husband and wife, and wife was suffering from some illness. Okay, let's say there is a headache was there. Now, see, the headache of the wife was severe enough that it required immediate attention. It was severe that it should be attended immediately. But the headache was also not so dangerous that if it is left untreated, she will die. Are you understanding the dilemma in front of the husband? Okay. So the headache was severe that it requires immediate attention, but the headache was not so dangerous that she will die. Okay. Now the kind enough husband here going into the chemist shop. Okay. Chemist shop to purchase the medicine for the headache. Now after reaching the chemist shop, he gets to know that the cost of medicine is very high. Okay, whatever the money he is carrying, he could not purchase the medicine within that particular cost. Now the only option is he has to come back without the medicine, or the one option is he can steal the medicine. Okay, so he can come back without medicine, or he can steal the medicine. Now this was the dilemma, whether he should come back without medicine because he has gone there and the cost is very high, or should he steal the medicine. So this was the case study, and it has been like discussed, debated, etc., etc. Now look at how the male or the boy is answering the case. Boy is saying that okay, he should steal the medicine because headache is important, so issue has to be resolved. Okay, finish it off, because finish it off matlab headache is okay. We are not saying that headache has to be like settled. So steal the medicine and then give the response, because that's an attention is required. Now the question was asked to the girl, and look how the girl is answering. The girl is saying that no, medicine should not be like taken this way, because now we have to see the consequences of it, because if the medicine is taken this way, tomorrow what will happen? The police will come and the police will capture the husband. Then the husband will land in jail. When the husband will land in jail, the wife will be deprived of the love of the husband. The kids will be deprived of love of father. The neighboring person will point the fingers at our house that your husband is a thief. Okay, and therefore the medicine should not be stolen. Okay. Now this was the response of the girl. Now what the Kohlenberg has done, Kohlenberg has put, this is the first good response, and there are so many gradations here. So he has put this response, this is the best response, and there is a second best response likewise. Now the Carol Gilligan was a secretary who was working there, and she has found, because this was a survey, so maximum boys are answering in this fashion, okay, girls are answering in this fashion, and then she researched a lot on that, and then she has said that no, this is wrong to number 1 and 2, okay, these are the merely a difference responses. They are not 1 and 2. This is not, you can call it the first best or the second best response, but they are the different responses, and these different responses is because of their gender. Okay, that is where she come to like come with the understanding called as feminine ethics and the masculine ethics. Now then she has come up with this two term called as masculine ethics and feminine ethics. Now what is this masculine ethics and feminine ethics? Why she was thinking that all these women will discuss? First, right here, that is Carol Gilligan. And Carol Gilligan has classified the ethics into two parts. That is masculine ethics versus feminine ethics. Okay, so in this respect, she has come to this conclusion because her decisions are generally driven by the love, affection, feelings, and emotions. Okay, she has not just said about the individual person as such, but she has also looked out how the impact of the decision, particularly on the family, particularly on the relationship, particularly upon the where she is living, and etc. So feelings and emotions matter a lot for the feminine ethics, and the female are more giving a preference on such values. Whereas the masculine part, they are more logical, they are more rational, and they take the decision based upon rules, regulation, etc., etc. So that is what she has to say. And later on, what has happened, there has been a lot of research with respect to this, why female think in this particular manner. And after research, two theories came into being. One theory was a biological explanation of feminine ethics, and second was the cultural and social explanation for feminine ethics. Biological explanation says that since the women goes through the pregnancy, okay, there is a obviously the fetus is there in her uterus, and during the time of pregnancy, she develops the sort of affiliation with respect to the fetus. And this affiliation, this attachment, this emotions, this feeling has become important reason why she is so kind and driven by the feelings, compassion, and etc., etc. This was an earlier explanation, which was a biological explanation, which was not a very scientific explanation, although it was a biological in its origin. Then later, more research were carried out, and after the research, the people have also found out it's not the biology per se, but it's about the socio-cultural environment in which he is trained. So since inception, since childhood, she has been trained that you need to be more pious, more kind, more, you can say that compassionate, feeling oriented, etc., etc. Like this is a stereotyping in a particular house. She is actually taking the role of her mother. And in case of a male counterpart, he has always been trained to become very aggressive. He is trained to become assertive. He is trained to become a logical. He is trained to this and that way. So this type of stereotyping is happened during the social environment in which she lives. Okay, like say for example, if the joke has to be cracked, then she should smile a little bit only. बहुत जोर जोर से नहीं हंसना है, ऐसे नहीं करना है, वैसे नहीं करना है. So she is being stereotyped. You should be a delicate one. You should laugh small. You should be very kind. You should be very courteous. You should be this. You should be that. So that sort of a socio-cultural environment is there. Whereas on the male counterpart, he has always been told, like you have to be very aggressive. You cannot like shy. Okay, you need to be very assertive. You need to always be a strong. So this type of stereotyping happens, and therefore, eventually, such decisions are being taken. Now, the very point was, because this explanation holds to be true, that this is called as the patriarchy, stereotyping of gender, वगैरह वगैरह जो हम बोल रहे थे. So, because there is a stereotyping of gender, it's the social and the cultural environment which is responsible for her to think in a particular manner. So, it's also been found, why not the male counterpart can also display these qualities? Okay, if they are also being trained in this manner, they also can show the care, compassion, love, empathy, loyalty, emotions, feelings. Okay, these components also can be inculcated in the same manner as they have been inculcated into the women counterpart. And therefore, what used to be called as some of the attributes which are more related with the female, now it has been understood that these attributes has to be related with the both male and female counterpart. Therefore, in today's time, the feminine ethics word has got replaced by care ethics. Now we call it as a care ethics, but still you will find in many of the books feminine ethics, because the origin of care ethics is in the feminine ethics. So first we'll write what the Carol Gilligan has to say, because if the question is in the form of this way, that is a masculine ethics versus feminine ethics, then you have to obviously invoke the Carol Gilligan and write how it has been the origin, and then if it is only the feminine ethics, you can simply relate with the care ethics. Okay, so to start with what the differences, she has said that male are more logical. Okay, they take the decision based upon logic and rationality, whereas these are based upon the emotions. Okay, they generally follow rules, regulations, rigid. Okay, rigidity with respect to that. They are more flexible in terms of they follow the feelings, they follow the care component. Care, love, affection, compassion, etc. So this becomes the important part for them. Logical and rationality, that is a feeling, care, love, affection, compassion. Okay, these are the sort of the feelings. So this is what she has started with. Okay, and she said that in certain situation you cannot always apply the law. Okay, certain situation law cannot be applied, or maybe when we go by the law, strictly by the law, it's more of a masculine nature, but in certain situation also demand you have to take the decision based upon care, love, affection, compassion, empathy, etc., etc. The whole idea can be summarized into the word called as care. Okay, care ethics, and this is how the Carol Gilligan has come up with the term. But now in the today's parlance, the feminine ethics is replaced by the care ethics. In fact, many of the research, although we need not have to go into that detail, they have said that the issues with respect to the war, okay, कहाँ पे इसका application है care ethics and feminine ethics का application of war, issues with respect to environment, issues with respect to the corruption, okay, conflict management in general, any kind of conflicts. So in fact they have forwarded this particular theory that the war, generally the great world wars, okay, First World War, Second World War, etc., women were never been a part of decision making process. Okay, so they were always at the receiving end, and it was the male who take the decision with regard to the war. Their aggressive behavior has led into the 2 world wars, and they claim that if the women also have been a participant in the decision making, perhaps the course of the history would have been different. Okay, so that is because they were always at the receiving end. In fact, there used to be a masculinity in the war, and during the war, so many people would die, and there used to be a war widows. Okay, in fact, there was a social conflict also during the First World War and Second World War, because there were so many families where the husband has lost the life, and the war widows were there. So this leads into the social conflict also. So in that regard, they say that war-like situation, okay, is because of the masculine ethics, and somewhere we have to think about the love, care, affection, compassion, etc. In case of environment and environmental degradation also, they have also established the direct link that the care and compassion that the women have, okay, something that we have to also bring in the same feelings with regard to the environment, okay, environmental protection, etc., etc. So that sort of thing is required. In case of corruption also, they have said that it's when feminine ethics we will bring, okay, we will be more considerate about the problems of people rather than just rule-based things, or for that matter, very aggressive nature while treating with the people who do not have the access to the administration, or there are certain problems which might be there, and any kind of a conflict-like situation. So all in all, the whole point here of discussion is that is about the issues with regard to the care ethics. Okay, in case of care ethics, you just have to remember what used to be a part of feminine has become now the part of each and everyone, and one should display those things. That is it. So feminine ethics is not about the empowerment of women. It is about the attributes: care, love, affection, compassion, loyalty. These attributes required to be displayed in certain situation. Okay, like say for example, care ethics component. Let's say there is a one person beggar, and you have seen there is a person and he has a son of 6-year-old, and you and your son is also standing near to one shop. Now your son is pointing to the fact that this 6-year-old kid has gone into the shop and he has taken some pizza or burger from there, stealing pizza and burger from the shop without the knowledge of the one shopkeeper. Okay, shopkeeper is busy in his like taking money in etc. activities. In that, the 6-year-old person has gone and taken the burger or the pizza, okay, and ran away from the spot. Shopkeeper has not noticed it. Okay, you and your son are standing there, and the son has seen it, that this particular 6-year-old person has stealing this burger. Now in this situation, the person, the son of you, is telling you, okay, look, he has taken, okay, the pizza or the burger without the knowledge of shopkeeper. Now you are the person there, what will be your reaction? Okay, how do you proceed with this case? Have you understood the case? Yes, what should be your reaction, and what is your reaction in this case? In fact, upon inquiry, you have found that since last 3 years he has not taken a meal. Okay, that 6-year-old person has not taken a food, and that is how do you proceed? Now there is a theft component is also there. I guess somebody has yes. How do you proceed? What will be your reaction as a person standing there? You and your son are standing. The son has seen a 6-year-old guy who has taken a pizza or the burger without the acknowledgement of shopkeeper. Huh? Pardon? Huh. You're paying for the... Okay, yes. Yes, right. जितने भी options लिख सकते पहले लिखिए. See, I'll make you understand that how to go ahead. It's take in the form of a case study. अरे क्या हो गया? You and your son are standing in a queue. Standing outside shop. You and your son standing outside the shop. In front of there is a shop, there is a shopkeeper. A 6-year-old boy is stealing pizza and running away from the shop and ran away. Okay, the shopkeeper hasn't noticed it. Hasn't noticed. Shopkeeper hasn't noticed, but the son has noticed. And son is narrating this, look, that 6-year-old boy is stealing. 6-year boy is stealing the pizza. As a person, what is your course of action? What are the alternatives? What are the different alternatives? And what is your course of action? What are the different alternatives and what is your course of action? Yes, alternatives means you can make 2, 3, 4 alternatives, and then which one of the 3, 4 options you will choose and why. Okay, just take 5 minutes. Everyone should write alternatives. Write the merit and demerit of each option, and then which final course of action you will choose and why. Okay, let me. All of you have understood case, or should I repeat? All of you have understood. Okay, take it. What are the alternatives? Discuss merit and demerit, and what is your course of action? Yes, after knowing, say for example, you have found that 6-year-old person is obviously the poor. Okay, he does not have anything to eat. हाँ क्या pardon? नहीं तो आप लिखो, जो लिखना है लिखिए. हाँ. Yes, let's discuss. Okay, huh? Okay, huh? You can? Ignore it. ठीक है. Okay. Reduce in such? Did. Okay, 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 ठीक है. Good. Yes, हाँ. Hmm. Okay. So, yes. Okay, fine. और बताइए. Okay, good. Good. Okay, ठीक है. Good, good. Whose duties? 6-year-old duties. Whose duties? Okay, parents' duty. ठीक है, fine. Good. Okay, fine, good. Now the case is little bit. अरे वो discuss करेंगे, ठीक है. For you, like here, say for example, the 6-year-old boy was hungry. Okay. Not taken anything since last 2 days, and obviously he is a son of a beggar. Beggar has not made good money for a day. Now it's the beggar obviously more than 18-year father, his father is coming and stealing. How do you go ahead in this case? His father, 6-year-old guy is there, he's hungry, has not taken anything for last 2 days. Okay, on a given day, the beggar has not like got enough money in order to food the boy. Now what he is doing essentially, in place of 6-year-old boy, the beggar is coming in the shop and stealing the pizza. Okay, has been seen by the son and etc. Everything will be remain the same. Legal procedure, arrest. Yes. Now it's not the son, 6-year-old. हाँ आप बताइए आपका हाँ आपको क्वेश्चन आ रहा था ना 6 ईयर को कैप्चर नहीं किया जा सकता, आप बेगर हैं, अब क्या करोगे आप? हाँ सो बताइए ना क्या करेंगे आप? हाँ दिस इज अ सिचुएशन, व्हाट इज योर लाइन ऑफ एक्शन? Shopkeeper. Then help the guy. How do you help the guy? Yes. See, the point is, yes. So where is the, how do you respond to the stealing? That's the primary question here. Will you like, will it not incentivize him if you are going to help him? No. Huh? Therefore you hands off. And then? So situation is clear, he is a beggar. बता तो रहे हैं. Normal beggar और कौन सा beggar रहता है? There are so sophisticated beggar. Huh? Beggar is a beggar. That's it. Okay. Now Prime Minister is saying that people are moving with the क्या बोलते हैं उसको, swipe card करने के लिए. Okay. Okay, that's an illusion. Okay, that's not going to happen कि आप पैसे मांग रहे हो और बोल रहे हो कि swipe card कर दो और पैसे बेकार में दे दो. That's an height of like mockery of beggary. It's a big issue, certainly. See, the thing is, yes, have you seen this? Like, beggar is going and asking, swiping the card. It's not, no demonetization के context में आया था, ऐसे नहीं है अभी. Okay, we have to be a little bit more sensitive. First, ignore. Okay. Second, sort of a help. Okay, जो बोलते हैं कि symptomatic relief sort of thing. Say, for example, here like completely, we are making an options and then we'll discuss one by one. Okay, help. Third is help and do not inform the shopkeeper. Inform shopkeeper and let him take action. And fourth is some sort of proactive intervention. We'll see. Proactive intervention. Okay. Yes. If it would have been so kind shopkeeper, it would have happened in the first case. I can again make it, the shopkeeper is otherwise a very disciplined and strict person. Okay, and yes. No, this is from you, your side. What are the... yes. Yes. We'll discuss now. अभी आप थोड़ा सा patience रखिए, ठीक है? First is ignore. Ignore the issue. See, we have to write the ignore because we have to also go from the worst of the options so as to let the examiner feel that that cannot be an option. But you have to discuss those options. When the alternatives are asked, you start from the worst and reach to the best. Okay, ignore because we have seen the merits and demerits of it. Okay, so merits and demerits. So maybe यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा merit नहीं है. Only thing you can say is getting away from the conflict-like situation and like protecting my son from the evils of the society. Okay, in order that he should not even know about all this situation, but do not write much of the merit when you are going to ultimately ignore the option. So demerit that when wrong thing is happening, you are silent about it. Okay, first of all, see, there are two things. One is about the stealing, and second is about the situation. Okay, situation of beggar, or for that matter, a 6-year-old guy. So in fact, two types of interventions were expected. That what you have done about the stealing, are you remain silent and ignorant about it, and what about the situation of a person? Okay, now so the first is ignored because you have ignored everything. Okay, you are not have shown any sort of an activity. Second is help the person. Okay, like somebody has said that paying from the pocket and don't inform the shopkeeper. This is a kind act. Generally we see, okay, giving a money to the beggar, or here paying for the person and then let it go. Now merit, certainly we can see that we have shown the empathy with respect to the person and situation. But is there any demerit with this option? What is the demerit? It will incentivize also, that is one thing. Okay, so you have been silent about the stealing aspect. Okay, you have simply like helped him in order to understand the situation, but you have not done anything with regard to stealing. That's the first thing. Stealing is ignored completely. Second thing is, the situation and your reaction was a very temporary one. It is not going to change the fortune of the person. Okay, just by mere helping. Maybe you are helped, what you have done, maybe on the 2 days later, he is having the same situation. So that's not a complete solution. Okay, it's just a temporary sort of a kindness that you have shown, but you have not done anything, okay, substantially in order to remove the person out of the plight. Okay, so therefore even the giving the money and once is also not a very proactive option. Third is, so here what you have done is, with respect to kindness you have shown, but half kindness, okay, and plus stealing is ignored. Second may inform the shopkeeper and let him take the action. Here you have taken something on the stealing, because stealing is wrong. In any case, whether it is a beggar, whether it is anything, you have thought that there is a means and ends. ये जो हमने किया था. End may be like, because for the sake of life and livelihood, somebody has stolen or stealing. So means is wrong, therefore you think that stealing is wrong, therefore you inform the person and let him take any kind of the action that he is supposed to take. Here again, you have taken a stealing in an isolated manner, but you haven't seen the circumstances of the person. So again, there is a merit that you have done something about the stealing in order to inform the shopkeeper, so some sort of action has to be taken. But then the situation and the beggar and the circumstances has not been taken into account. In fact, we have seen one question, some values keep on changing with respect to time, place and context, that is the circumstances. Now, proactive intervention here is something that you have to show the kindness, you have to show the active intervention and steering also. In such situation, first of all, immediate some sort of relief should be given, because here the first point is somebody's survival, life, existence, bread and butter was involved. Then something with regard to stealing you have to speak about, and something with regard to the long-term measure. Can you think of? Now here, when we say the immediate relief, yes, immediate relief in a form of paying from the pocket at that particular point of time, and so as to feed, or requesting the shopkeeper, whichever is the case. If you can pay, obviously, first you request the shopkeeper to give him some sort of food. If it is not, you pay from your pocket at this particular point of time. But that's not where you have to stop. Now, with regard to stealing, stealing requires here a definitely a different treatment, because circumstances are forcing him to steal. That too, he is not stealing for the luxury. Okay, he is stealing for the survival. So somewhere here the question of survival, first of all, stealing is there, so you have to convince whether it is a beggar or whether it is a child, etc. So some sort of a learning lesson to him that stealing is wrong thing to do. Even if you are hungry, this is not the way of doing it. So you have to take in certain long-term measures so that this situation should be avoided in future. Because your good, what you can say, that good virtue ethics lecture will not be helpful unless and until you change his situation. So changing the situation require like contacting certain NGOs so that the kids can provided with that, or any sort of an NGO which is working for the sake of this, so that they can be, okay, in long term can be absorbed into the more formal activities, so that he can earn also and can have the existence. Now this is what is required, that is immediate solution, something on stealing so that stealing should be prevented in future, and some sort of pragmatic solution so that stealing won't happen. Only giving a lecture will not also be a situation which will be essentially resolve the problem unless and until you provide the alternative means of livelihood. At the same time, ये तो एक लिखना है और B में लिख सकते हो, मतलब this is something which you can fetch more marks. You can say that since the sun is looking everything, sun is with me, so this is also a sort of virtue ethics and experience for him. There are two things. No matter whatever the circumstances are, doing wrong thing is wrong. Okay, whether it is stealing, whether it is whatever the thing is wrong. Okay, it cannot be justified even when circumstances are dire. Okay, so that is upholding the virtues in all the situation. That's the one lesson. Second lesson is you have to be a kind and compassionate towards the weaker section of the society. So these are the two learning lessons I can give my son. At the same time, I can take an action. Short-term action, long-term action, and something which is wrong has to be removed. Okay. Now, why I have discussed this particular case in care ethics and this feminine ethics. The masculine ethics, according to Carol Gilligan, might have been something like, since stealing is wrong, okay, it's wrong, legally wrong. Since it is legally wrong, so you have to take a legal aspect as per the masculine ethics, because that is how the rules and regulations and the law and logic will apply. Feminine ethics will look out for the more care, compassion, love, affection, etc. So maybe in that case, female will take a decision in order to not inform the shopkeeper and help this guy out in some other way. No matter, even if it is like incentivizing the crime, people will say that incentivizing the crime. But the one who is helping will also argue it is a question of survival and showing empathy also. So this was a feminine ethics if the Carol Gilligan would have noticed. But now, when we say about the care ethics, it means that whether you are masculine or whether you are feminine, okay, both of you have to show empathy and compassion, and you cannot take the decision just on the basis of law. In certain situations, it does not mean, we are nowhere saying that law is not important. Okay. In fact, last year there was a question, okay, in 2015. One question they have asked, they have said that give situation of your life where you are legally correct but morally wrong. And second was, give one situation where you are morally correct but legally wrong. Okay, so sometimes the situation, so this question itself was calling कि यहाँ पे अगर रहता है यही सिचुएशन को अगर आप अडल्ट में लिख देते हो और लॉ ब्रेक हुआ है तो आपने हेल्प कर दी तो वो लीगली रॉन्ग है लेकिन मॉरली करेक्ट है. ओके, या फिर मॉरली करेक्ट, लीगली करेक्ट एंड मॉरली रॉन्ग, इसको उल्टा कर दो. Any kind of the situation will be there. But from the bureaucratic point of view, it does not mean that morality will have an upper hand over the legal, or legal will have an upper hand over the rules and regulation has to be followed. At the same time, you need to show the empathy and compassion. If you remember the bureaucratic attitude and democratic attitude में classification में हमने discuss किया था. Bureaucratic attitude is rules and regulation has to be followed. They are there, but at the same time, you have to also be in showing an empathy and compassion. ये जो empathy and compassion है, these all are part of the care ethics. Is it fine? Okay, so that's about how you can go in this case. In fact, हाँ, yes. Demerit नहीं रहता है, हर एक में ऐसे नहीं है. वो course of action रहेगा आपका, final course of action रहेगा. ठीक है? हाँ, yes. हाँ. Confined by mob. Yes, so the situation if it is changed, so likewise you can also take certain other measures also. If the situation is giving mob is there, this is there, call upon the police, inform the law enforcement agency. जैसे case study होगी, वैसे आपके actions भी different हो जाएंगे. The point is you are not completely taking yourself away and like taking away from the responsibility. Your responsibility remain the same, that something has to be done in their interest. Now how it has to be done depend upon situation. ठीक है? If it is being lynched down, then obviously calling the police. First of all, convincing the people there that this is not the way, that you should not take law and order situation. If it is still in the control, in the sense of can be controlled. But if the verbal advice is ineffective, then obviously you have to call the law enforcement agencies, who has to ensure that if somebody has stealing something or law has been broken, it's for the law enforcement agency to decide whether what has happened and what has not happened. In any case, the common man cannot take the law and order situation in his hand and punish the person. Okay? So likewise, you have to write. Yes, so that's the thing here. Now, in fact, that's the sort of an end of our Western thinkers. Okay, so let me again say that what are the themes that we have covered this little bit of revision. Consequential ethics. Okay, wherein we have seen the two thinkers. What are the two thinkers? Names बताओ मुझे thinkers के बस. Yes, Bentham and J.S. Mill. Okay, then we have seen the deontology. Deontology में Gandhi and Immanuel Kant. Okay, virtue ethics में Greek philosophers we have seen. But I have mentioned that in virtue ethics, any thinker can come. Okay. Then in case of right-based ethics, mostly we have seen the different theories of rights. Then we have seen the justice. Justice was a bigger component, that is criminal sort of justice. There we have rectificatory justice, reformative justice, then deterrence justice, compensatory justice. And then on the socio-economic justice, we have seen John Rawls, we have seen Dworkin, we have seen the Amartya Sen. Okay, that's the philosophy. Then later we have discussed the environmental ethics. Okay, environmental ethics ke baad feminism and feminine ethics. So that's about different themes that you have to remember. These are not only from the point of view of thinkers, but also these are the different dimensions of ethics. Do not forget that. There are different dimensions. The moment you change the dimensions, you end up in taking the different decisions. Now there is a possibility there can be a clash between different dimensions. If you apply different dimensions, there can be different situations, and which dimensions to be taken into consideration. Okay, these are all the cases of ethical dilemmas and the case studies. So the moment we will finish today about the Indian scholars, so tomorrow onwards we'll start with the case studies as well. Are you understanding? There can be a possibility that in a given situation, which particular dimension has to be taken into account in order to take the final decision. So that's a combination of different things that we have to keep in mind. So tomorrow we will do that in the case study class. Okay, so for the time being, now we are going to start with the with the Indian thinkers. So write the Indian thinkers now. Indian thinkers, there are a variety of ways of doing it. Here we have a different scheme. We'll see some of the religious philosophies. Religious moral philosophy. Then we'll see some of the thinkers per se. We're going to do here Mahatma Gandhi and Ambedkar. Then social reformers, from Rajaram Mohan Rai, etc. And then we are going to see some of the people with spiritual appeal, spiritual scholars. Scholars with universal appeal, here we are going to see. Ravindranath Tagore, Swami Vivekananda, Arvind Ghosh. Okay, so these are some of the scholars. So this is how we are going to proceed. Religious philosophy. Some of the thinkers, okay, the important ones we are going to do, the Mahatma Gandhi, Ambedkar, social reformers, and spiritual scholars. Okay, so we will try and identify different themes under the following heads. Yes, so let's start first with the religious philosophy. Rabindranath Tagore, Swami Vivekananda, Arvind Ghosh, Rajaram Mohan Rai, Mahatma Gandhi, Ambedkar, and some of the religious philosophers. In fact, there is not a much of the difference between Western and Indian philosophy, except for the fact that the terms used here are very customized one, okay, in Indian context. Otherwise, the good, something which is good, moral, ethical, is going to remain the same. Okay, except for few changes, few modifications. But still, while writing your answers, you can quote Western scholars also, and you can quote Indian philosophies also. So as and when you feel comfortable, you can quote either from the India or from the Western scholars. Okay, so let's start with the religious. So first, Hindu moral philosophy. Hindu moral philosophy. In fact, we have taken one question that how the religion and ethics are related. Okay, so in that case, one part of answer was yes, religion is important source for ethics. Although there are other things to it also. That question that anything and everything that is said in the religion may not be ethical. Second is at many times the religious and ethical principle may go contradictory to each other. And sometimes the ethics helps in religious reforms, okay, in order to correct. But here our focus is what are those religious philosophies or religious points which are sort of ethical guidelines, okay. So let's start with the Hindu philosophy. Hindu philosophy. Okay, so in the Hindu philosophy, 3-4 concepts we are going to do here. First, there is a theory of karma. Karma, in this context, we are going to see two things again. Nishkam karma. Nishkam karma and Sakam karma. Sakam karma. So first, let's see. What is karma? Yes, what is karma? Duties, moral duties or, in fact, deeds. Okay, it's philosophy of doing something. It is represented with doing something in life, action oriented. Deeds and action oriented. See, you have to see the karma with respect to a passive life or inactivity. Doing something in life, having some goals in life, and working hard to achieve those goals. So this is a philosophy of work, philosophy of being action, doing something in life. That is about the karma. It is against the passive life, inactive life, doing nothing in life. In fact, karma is do something. You have come up with the purpose, and therefore you should keep doing something in life. That's itself. Like say for example, many of times our parents say कि धरती पे बोझ बन गए हो, तुम कुछ काम करो, घर में सोए रहते हो, खाना खाते हो, सो जाते हो, बोझ बने रहते हो. That is this passive and inactive life. To do something in life is karma. Okay, have a life, have some goals, and work hard to achieve those goals. Now, there are two aspects here within the karma: nishkam karma and sakam karma. In fact, Bhagavad Gita says that nishkam karma should be the goal, and it should not be the sakam karma. Now, what is in nishkam karma? Nishkam karma is a selfless. Yes, selfless work. That is karma karo par phal ki apeksha mat karo. That is, do your duties in a selfless manner. Nishkam karma is do your duties in selfless manner. Okay, that is a work hard, do your duties, but do not worry about the result, goal, outcome. Keep doing the things in life. Okay, life you will pay you back, but that's a consequence, automatic consequence. You should not be worried about it. You should keep doing the things in life. So doing selfless work without expecting the fruits or results or benefits, in a simple way, without expecting fruits, benefits, results, you keep doing your work. That is called as nishkam karma. Bhagavad Gita says that nishkam karma should be the idea. In fact, Bhagavad Gita also describes sakam karma, but says that sakam karma is not a very moral, should not be the moral goal. Sakam karma is, okay, do your job expecting some benefits, fruits, result. Yes, this is something related with utilitarianism. Utilitarianism याद आ रहा है? Okay, utilitarianism में क्या है? You will see for the end result क्या है देखोगे आप. What, and this nishkam karma is a deontology. Okay, sakam karma is every time whenever you are getting involved into job, first think of result. Okay, ki what benefits, and if there are benefits, then do that particular job. That is called as sakam karma. It means that you are more oriented with your results, benefits, goals, fruits, etc. And that says that Bhagavad Gita, sakam karma should not be the philosophy of life, but the nishkam karma should be philosophy. In fact, this sakam karma is utilitarian and nishkam karma is deontology. So nishkam karma more tilted towards duties. That's why it is being said that in Western philosophy there is a much focus on the utilitarianism, but in Indian and the traditional philosophies of India, or for that matter Oriental society, we are focused more on duties rather than our rights. Okay, people have to do their duties irrespective of whether they are giving the results or not. Okay. In fact, there is one philosophy which is called Charvak philosophy. Charvak philosophy. Charvak philosophy is related with this. That is, you see the end result. Charvak pata hai? Materialism, yes, you always think from the materialistic point of view, and if it is benefiting you, then only you do the things. Okay, do not do for no reason. Okay, do the things in life for the material gain. That is a Charvak philosophy. But that's against, this supports the sakam karma maybe. So nishkam karma. Now this first part, that is a karma and nishkam karma and sakam karma. A second aspect that we are going to see here is purushartha. Okay. Hindu philosophy talks about 4 purushartha. Purushartha. There are 4 purushartha. Yes, what are the 4 purushartha? Yes, dharma, arth. Dharma is, what is dharma? Righteous duty. Okay. Duty. That is righteous. Performing righteous duty. Arth is related with the money, is related with material satisfaction. Calm. What is calm? Related with desire, sensuous happiness. Sensuous happiness. And then dharma artha ka moksha. Moksha is related with salvation. This is related with spiritual happiness. Spiritual happiness. Okay, so these are the four purushartha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Okay, dharma is related with the duty. Kam, moksha. Righteous duty. Again, you see here, if you see these two aspects, this is more Western oriented. Western philosophy, basically, when we discuss about this utilitarianism, यूटिलिटेरियनिज्म में ग्रेटेस्ट हैप्पीनेस ऑफ ग्रेटेस्ट नंबर में हमने डिफाइन किया था कि व्हाट इज दिस हैप्पीनेस. हैप्पीनेस इज डिफाइंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ materialistic sense, because happiness is a function of utility, and utility itself is a function of pain and pleasure. Okay, anything that reduces the pain and increases the pleasure has a utility. So this is a material satisfaction. This is something which is a biological, one can understand. But this part of material satisfaction is only the Western philosophy. So that's why it is being said that Indian philosophy are more enriched in its appeal. Enriched in its appeal in a sense that it has a component of material, but it has also a component of duty-based happiness. It has also a component of spiritual-based happiness. That's why Indian philosophies are more enriched in that regard. There is also a focus on the utilitarianism, but utilitarianism cannot be the only thing of life. In fact, four purushartha means everybody's life should have the four components. Okay, that is dharma, keep doing your duties, what is important from the society. In fact, dharma originates from the dhamma. Dhamma is something that binds the society together. It means that something that are the ethical values for the society. Society के point of view से what is important to keep the society in a equilibrium, peace, harmony, okay, and then individual role in that society in order to keep the people, keep the society peace and harmony. That's why the duty, it is a righteous duty. Righteous duty which maintain the peace and harmony of the society. Your duty towards society, that is righteous duty. That is about the dharma. समझ में आया धर्म क्या है? Okay, it's not at individual level, but the societal level. So there are certain moral will of society. Moral will of society में कुछ code of conduct, code of ethics रहेंगे. उससे आपको guidelines लेनी है. It's not your individual whims and fancies that you should bring in your action, but taking into cue from the larger part of society's moral will. Okay, and then from out of that moral will, you should understand what is your duty. Material satisfaction, monetary terms, desire, sensuous satisfaction, and salvation is spiritual. Obviously, Indian philosophy also talks in terms of the spiritual happiness. Again, here I repeat, the only Charvak philosophy does not talk about this sort of spiritual, and they focus on the materialistic sense because they do not believe in the metaphysical world. Okay, the Charvak says that this is the life. And khao piyo aish karo. Okay, that's the philosophy of Charvak. Okay, we do not know where we are going to go. Okay, there is nothing like a metaphysical world. Whatever the world is, this is the world. We can have a pleasure with respect to our sensory organs, and therefore we should go for this materialistic satisfaction. Is it fine? Like that's a four purushartha. So first, the karma and nishkam karma as a philosophy. Second is four purushartha. And the final one, that is a gun dynamics. Okay, the final one is gun dynamics. गुण, हाँ, मनुष्य में बहुत सारे गुण रहते हैं टाइप्स में. हाँ, क्या है गुण? लिख ही देता हूँ इसको हिंदी में. गुण. There are three gun. Okay, and there. Yes, what are the three gun? Yes. तामसिक और तमस, then rajas, and third is satvik. तमस, रजस एंड सात्विक. सत्व, सत्व जिसमें है वो सात्विक, रजस, राजस एंड तामसिक. What does this tamas represent? Inertia. Yes, it represents the darkness. Tamas represents the darkness. So darkness, yes, it represents the inactivity in life. Inactivity, passivity, inertia, depression, alienation. Okay, मतलब लाइफ में कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा है, बेकार, मतलब एकदम अंधकार में लाइफ है. A life is very depressed, blue state of affair, blue state. Okay, life is in blue. So that's inactivity, passivity, inertia, depression, alienation. This is tamso ma jyotirgamaya. What is it? अंधकार से प्रकाश की ओर. ठीक है. So imagine there is a tunnel. अंधेरा है, कुछ दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. Yes, that is about the darkness. मतलब लाइफ में कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा है. There is nothing happening. Now come to the rajas. Rajas. What does it represent? हाँ, रज्जो, प्यार से रज्जो बोलो, जो भी बोलना है बोलो. Yes. What is rajas? Huh? Enlightened or materialistic. Yes, you are close. It's more administrative. It is guided by the passion and the greed. हाँ, बराबर है, राजभोग. पैशन एंड द ग्रीड. पैशन एंड द ग्रीड में क्या है? इनएक्टिविटी की जगह यहां पे हाइपर एक्टिविटी है. हाइपर एक्टिव लाइफ, एक्स्ट्रावेगेंट लाइफ, एक्स्ट्रावेगेंट, ओके, मटीरियलिस्टिक लाइफ, पैशन, ग्रीड, एग्रेशन, एंगर, पैशन, ग्रीड, एग्रेशन, एंगर एक्सेट्रा. सो सिंपल है. यहां पे जो है कुछ कर ही नहीं रहा है, यहां पे रुक ही नहीं रहा है. ठीक है. एक्स्ट्रावेगेंट लाइफ नहीं, प्रोएक्टिव नहीं. प्रोएक्टिव इज अ पॉजिटिव वर्ड हियर. रजस में व्हाट इज ऑप्टिमली रिक्वायर्ड मोर देन दैट. ओके, देयर इज अ थिन लाइन इन बिटवीन दिस. ओके, एक्स्ट्रावेगेंट जैसे ना, राजा क्या रहता था, मतलब बड़ा बड़ा शयनयान है उनका, फिर घोड़े पे निकले, फिर 2-4 लोगों को मार के आए, फिर दासियों के साथ घूम रहे, जाम पी रहे. यस, दैट इज व्हाट extravagant life. Okay, so that is about the rajas. Rajas is not an optimum, something which is more than. That's also not correct. This is also not correct. Okay, one is complete inactivity, one is hyperactivity, because it is guided by passion and the greed. There is no temperance here. समझ में आ रहा है? Virtues and vices हमने किया था discuss. So this is basically about that. Okay, now we have to bring the balance in life. This is one extreme, this is one extreme. This is passive and this is, yes, this is called as the sattvic life. Okay, sattvic. Sattvic is what? Balanced. साधु भी नहीं है, इसमें है साधु. साधु नहीं है, इसमें थोड़ा बहुत करना रहता है. मतलब ये है एकदम हिमालय पे जाके बैठ जाना तमस में. मेन स्ट्रीम में ही रहना है इसको. बैलेंस्ड लाइफ, a sense of temperance, love, care, compassion. In each sense there is a balance. All goody things that you can think of are सात्विक. बोलते हैं ना, लड़की बहुत अच्छी है, सात्विक लड़की है, शादी कर लो वगैरह, सर्वगुण संपन्न. तो you can write all the characters here. In fact, this basically a theory of virtue. If you compare with the Western philosophy, this is a theory of virtues. Gun is virtue. Now, what is a gun dynamics? Gun dynamics में आप में कौन सा गुण ज्यादा है उस हिसाब से आपका पर्सनालिटी रहता है, तो आपको समझो आप इंट्रोवर्ट एंड एकदम एलिनिएटेड हो, दैट इज अ तमस गुण, सो यू हैव टू लिटिल बिट कम दिस वे. Rajas is, again, this is wise. So Sattvic is a balanced and perfect life, and that is where we see that the virtuous life, and anything which is away from virtuous will be the vices. So utne component. So dynamics is what is, it's like a permutation combination. How much component you have? If you have this 70% and this 20 and this 10, so you will be more towards the extravagant and the greed and related with this. Here anger. Okay, those sort of impulsive behavior is there. Okay, here it is impulsive behavior, here it is no behavior, inactive completely. So that's about the Sattvic. So gun dynamics is that there are three guns, and a person's personality is a reflection of the combination of three, and which one is having a more proportion, the life and the behavior will be reflected in it. And Sattvic should be, the goal should be moved towards the Sattvic life. So that's about it with regard to Hindu philosophy. So some of the things you should minimum remember this, like a Nishkam karma. In fact, karma, Nishkam and Sakam, we have studied only to know what is Nishkam karma. What is being projected and favored is Nishkam karma, not the Sakam karma. Only for relative comparison we have studied it. Then four Purushartha and then different goals. Now write the next, that is Buddhism. Buddhist philosophy or Buddhism. बुद्धिज्म और बुद्धिस्ट मॉरल फिलोसॉफी. आपका एंशियंट मेडाइवल हुआ है क्या? मेडाइवल हिस्ट्री शुरू नहीं हुआ है. ओके. Buddhism, see that there was like a story goes like this, where there was a Siddhartha who was a prince. Okay, Siddhartha, a prince, on a very fine day came out, saw four different scenes of his life. Okay, what were the four scenes? There was one person who was suffering, okay, illness. One old person. One death procession. Okay, एक पर्सन था जो बीमार थे, एक है not able to walk. There was a death procession. What was the fourth one? Yes, there was a saint. Now what he has observed, this is suffering in life. Whether it is a illness, whether it is an old man, whether it is a death procession, there is a suffering in life. And he has also seen, but nonetheless, there was one saint, okay, who seems to be a very calm, equanimous, happy, charming, etc. Now he thought that what is it takes to become a saint? Okay, so this is after visiting these four sins of life. Okay, he felt restless, and he wanted to find out how to get out of the sufferings in life and how to find the happiness. So this Siddhartha prince has abandoned his all materialistic life, and he started searching for the truth. And the truth for him is how to move away from the suffering and find the happy life. There were certain stories also, okay, cooked up है नहीं है, ऐसे मतलब लिखा हुआ है कई जगह पे. He met first the Brahmins. Brahmins believe in the fasting, so they have asked like, okay, join us for the fasting. So he also sat for the fasting for a few days. But then what has happened? On one day he felt hungry. He consumed some staple of food. तो ब्राह्मण ने बोल दिया ऐसे नहीं चलता है, फास्टिंग इज फास्टिंग, ओके, यू कैन नॉट लाइक ईट मतलब व्हेन यू आर हंग्री. So he was again, has been abandoned, and in fact he essentially believed that fasting is not going to give you the happiness. So he again abandoned them, and then went, and somewhere in Bihar he has reached into the, where he has reached? Bodh Gaya. Yes, Bodh Gaya, there is a people tree. He sat there and he meditated for a long. After meditation, he felt enlightened. Okay, suddenly he realized that what is to be happy in life, and therefore, from the Bodh Gaya, he went to the Sarnath and delivered his first sermon. Okay, that is what is called the Buddhism. So later on, after he was enlightened, the first sermon was in the Sarnath, and rest of the life he started preaching the philosophy, what we call as a Buddhism. So Buddhism is in fact, this is the story of a prince. But there is also a context during the post-Vedic time. What was the situation of the Hindu? In fact, Buddhism and Jainism is being said as it is a rebellion child of Hinduism. Rebellion child means it was rebel against the Hindu. Yes. Why? Yes, there was a caste. Hinduism में कुछ problem आ गए थे. पहला problem था कि yes, caste discrimination. Caste discrimination was all perpetuating because this Varna system got rigid in the form of caste system. This was a Varna system. A Varna system was a professional classification, but it becomes converted into the rigid caste system. That is a Brahmin, then Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Okay, so there was a fourfold division. That's the one thing. So there was a lot of discrimination which was happening, first. Second is Brahmin becomes so dominant that if there are sacred books have to be read, you have to, like, the connection between the common man and the God is a Brahmin. So you have to go through the Brahmin in order to preach the religion or the God. And the Brahmin is going to obviously take some money, exploit, etc., etc. There were different rituals, okay, animal sacrifices, so big rituals, and rituals would require a lot of money. So during that time, practicing the religion also become next to impossible, because first is there was a caste discrimination, second there was a Brahminical domination, third was rituals which were very, very difficult for a common man to practice. So overall the situation was very difficult, and Hinduism was started losing its charm. In that context, the Buddhism has developed, and Buddhism has given certain simple philosophy of life to be practiced, and that's why within a shorter span of time, okay, there was a great spread of Buddhism. Okay, so we are going to see what is the moral philosophy of Buddhism. In fact, Buddhism can be summarized and in the Four Noble Truths. So first, right, four noble truth. The whole Buddhism is within this, is Four Noble Truths. Yes, what are the Four Noble Truths? First, there is suffering in life. Okay, that's the first truth. There is suffering in human life. So do not creep that why I am the selected one by the God, मेरी life में क्यों problem है? Everybody is life is suffering. Okay. Second, the truth is the reason for suffering, that is a desire. Desire is a cause of suffering. So do not blame others. The enemy lies within you. Okay, that's what the Buddha has said. That desire, first of all, everybody has a suffering. Second is desire is a reason or the cause of suffering. The third is one can get out of the suffering by extinguishing and controlling over the desire. Okay. Okay, you can write the solution to get out of the suffering is controlling the desires. Controlling desire. In fact, that's the philosophy, control of desires and the desire, greed. Solution to get out of suffering. Okay, how to get out of suffering is through the control of desires. And fourth is, what is the way to be followed to get out of the controlling? Okay, way. And this way in the form of eightfold path. Eightfold path. Eightfold path, or famously known as Ashtanga Marg. Okay, eightfold path. This is also famously called as middle path of Buddhism. Eightfold path or middle path. Okay, so first is there is a suffering in life. Desire is a cause of suffering. Controlling desire is a solution. And if you follow these 8 things in life, so things can be managed. Okay, happiness can be achieved. Okay, so write this now, the eightfold path or the middle path of Buddhism. First is right understanding. Right understanding. I'll explain in one line each. First, just write it down. Right understanding. Second is right aspirations. Right understanding, right aspirations. Then right speech, right action, right livelihood. सब right ही है. Livelihood. Then right efforts, right mindfulness, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Concentration, or right in bracket you can write meditation. That's why there is a focus on the meditation in Buddhism. There are meditation centers, etc. Okay. Right understanding, right aspirations, right speech, right action, right livelihood, efforts, mindfulness, and concentration. If you follow this righteous path, what is called as a middle path. Why it is middle? Because when the right word is used, it is about avoiding the extremes. Okay. Who is the other philosopher who has talked about the same? Aristotle. Aristotle's golden mean principle. Okay, we have seen that golden mean is a virtue. That is following the middle path and avoiding the extremes. So you will see that lot of overlapping between Western philosophies and Indian philosophies. You just have to find much of the similarities. Okay. So here, following the middle path, when we are saying the right, it means that extreme things should be avoided and following the pious middle path. Okay. Now, what is right understanding? In fact, according to Buddha, the right understanding is understanding these four aspects. That is, understanding of the world is there is a suffering. Suffering is inevitable. Suffering is part of everyone's life. Okay. Second is desire is a reason. That's also right understanding. If you are saying that suffering is there and you are looking for the problem outside, then that's not in correct understanding. The understanding is desire. Then again, once you understand desire, you should take measures in order to control desire. Desire अंदर है और बाहर लोगों के साथ fight कर रहे हो in order to find the happiness. So that's not again a way of finding the happiness. You control your desire. Okay, control desires. There is two different things here. Fulfilling the desires by external measures, ले लेके, तो उनका कहना है कि वो desires कभी fulfill नहीं होंगे. You have to reduce the desires. Okay, materialistic sense of these things will not bring, because there will be always a desire for it. So controlling desires and how you have to follow this path. So that's about the right understanding. Right aspiration means once you have understood desire is a reason, your aspiration should be like that. Okay, आप desire है और फिर आप Mercedes, BMW और ये करोगे तो that's not the right aspiration. फिर से suffering ही है. ठीक है. अगर BMW ये भी आ गया, फिर चॉपर आ गया तो और कुछ. ठीक है. स्पेस सेंटर खोलने की सोचोगे. Right speech, that is truthfulness. Right action, being truthful. This is something which we have discussed in integrity. Honesty in some speech, honesty in action, honesty in livelihood. Livelihood means you are bread and butter. There should be an honesty. Okay, by right means you should yes, you should have your livelihood. Okay, ऐसा नहीं है कि बैंक रॉबरी करके पेट चला रहे हो आपका. It is only for the sake of my livelihood I am going for the bank robbery. So that's not a right way. Okay, livelihood. Right efforts, whatever your aspirations are, takes efforts. Right mindfulness is being alert in life. Okay, always be conscious in life. Conscious, being alert, being mindful, being rational. Are you understanding? Being rational, being mindful, being alert. Okay, these are the things. Right concentration is you have to, yes, go through the introspection, meditation, okay, maintain silence, see for the things, etc. That's also help in having a good life. So these are the different things of Buddhism. In fact, these are the, what are the do's? This you have to do. Apart from this eightfold path, Buddhism also suggested 5 don'ts. Okay, so write the last point of Buddhism. 5 things to be avoided in life. Okay, what you have to do is eightfold path. What you have to avoid is 5 things. Okay, 5 things to be avoided in life. Yes, so the 5 things to be avoided. So first is do not harm anyone, not causing injury or harm to anyone. Not causing injury or harm to anyone. Something what we call, for which the Buddhism is known, that is non-violence. Okay, that's the first thing that for which the Buddhism is known, non-violence. Okay. Second is no lie, that is you have to be truthful. Then third is no stealing. In fact, these 3 things, basic moral principles of our life. Do not cause harm to anyone, किसी को मारना नहीं है, झूठ नहीं बोलना है और चोरी नहीं करनी है. ठीक है, these are the 3 obvious principles of morality. Not causing harm, not speaking lie, not stealing. So what is the 4th and 5th? Asteya and aparigraha is Jainist philosophy. Jain, okay, in fact that's the point. Asteya is stealing, we'll discuss. What is Buddhism is trying to avoid? हाँ बराबर है, क्या है? Intoxicant, हाँ. No consumption of intoxicant. Some will not agree, but you have to write. No consumption of intoxicants. Right here, alcohol, drugs, etc. मजा आता है ऐसे. No consumption of intoxicant, alcohol, drugs, etc. 5th, no sexual misconduct. So there is a difference here in case of Buddhism and Jainism, slightly, we'll explain. No sexual misconduct. Now, let's also write what is to be promoted in life so that it will help you in writing the virtues also. Okay, somewhere. Non-violence नहीं होना चाहिए. क्या होना चाहिए? What should be extended? Violence should not be extended towards others. Then, इतना peace. Okay, ठीक है. Love, care, compassion, harmony, etc. Okay. It has to be extended. That is principle of brotherhood, love, care, compassion, empathy, not a violence towards others. Okay. Tolerance also. Humanism. So, etc. All conflict should not be a violence. Okay. But the positive connotation should be there. No lie. It's simple. That is a being truthful. Being truthful in life. No lie. Honesty, integrity. Truthful, honesty, integrity. No stealing. क्या करना चाहिए फिर? थोड़ा बहुत करना चाहिए. No stealing. Yes, right way of, right livelihood जो लिखा था. Okay. Right livelihood. Right ways of earning the livelihood. In fact, you can go beyond that also. That is philanthropy, charity also. Okay, not only stealing from others, but think of, आप एक तो दूसरों के बारे में मतलब एक इतना ही सोच पाते हो कि मैं खुद से ये रहूंगा. थोड़ा एक्सटेंड करने की भी तो सोचा. स्टीलिंग नहीं है तो extend them in a positive way. That is a charity, philanthropy. There are certain positive virtues. charity, philanthropy. Name some of the greatest philanthropists of all the time. Can you name? Mother Teresa, okay, compassionate moreover, but yes, certainly philanthropy. In modern times, Bill Gates, yes, Bill Gates is certainly. Warren Buffett. Yes, there are many. Bill Gates ka Melinda Gates Foundation. Okay, that's known for this. Being human. I can't say no. Okay, okay. Shahrukh himself. Okay, हाथ फैला के. Okay, charity, charity. Philanthropy, आ जाओ. Rahul. बोल दो भाई अब क्या है. Yes, let's move on to next. No consumption of intoxicants. Juice. Okay. Huh? What should be there? हरियाणा से आए हो, दूध दही का हरियाणा, नंबर 1 हरियाणा. लस्सी, अरे क्या मतलब. Yes, see, this is not that easy. Okay, it's not about milk and juice and this thing. Branded whiskey. क्या बोल रहे हैं? Yes, बताइए, what is it? Think all for a while. It's not that simple as appear to be. सात्विक आहार नहीं है. It's beyond that. Why there has to be a focus on non-consumption of intoxicants? Intoxicants है यहाँ पे, non-veg नहीं चल रहा है. Not killing animals. दारू कैसे तैयार होती है लोगों को मार के? Meditation. See, there is a, yes, control, being controlled life. Okay, this is basically right mindfulness जो study किया था. In fact, Buddhist philosophy focus on this sort of thing because, see, the thing is, context was Brahminical domination and caste inequality. In fact, it is being said that one group of people are rational and others are not. Therefore, they are not capable of ruling on themselves. So they are incapable. So if you are consuming, so obviously there is no mindfulness, no alertness, no rationality. सब घूमता है, ठीक है? तो इसलिए जो है, if you want to come out of it, and everybody has to be considered himself as a rational being, okay? So therefore there has been a avoidance of intoxicants because it has an impact on control system of a body. So this is right mindfulness. Okay, positive is right mindfulness. Being alert, being conscious, being rational. Alter हो जा रहा है. Alert, being alert, being rational. These are the aspects. Okay. Now the next is no sexual misconduct, no celibacy, or thoda sa. That's what I'm saying. There is a slight difference in between Jainism and Buddhism. Here the focus is not. There is no sexual activity ऐसे नहीं लिखा है. क्या लिखा है? No sexual misconduct. Okay. So fidelity, loyalty in life. Okay, fidelity. This is avoiding the infidelity. Okay, fidelity and loyalty, commitment, etc. These are the parts. Fidelity, loyalty, commitment. Being moral with respect to the sexual conduct. That's the thing. We'll see in case of how it is slightly different in case of Jainism. Okay. So these are the 5 things that has to be avoided. Okay. Obviously, the moral ethics and those things will evolve with the time also. Something like, as we speak today, these are some of the sort of a universal ethical principles. But with respect to the 2 things, okay, with the change in time, there has been different change in the value system. So depending upon the value system of the society, things get evolved. Okay, अभी गाने देखो कैसे है. Okay, वही promote करते 4 बोतल लोड का. Okay, ये वो, ठीक है. So there are certain things with context may evolve, but 3 things we can understand as a part of universal moral principles. Right, the next, that is a Jainism. So that's about it. Buddhism, Jainism. Break, okay, take a break for 5 minutes and we'll do the Jainism. Then today we have to finish the Indian thinkers. Right, Jainism. Jainism. So in Jainism, you have like in case of Buddhism, we have four noble truths. Here we have the three important principle called as Triratna. Okay, Triratna or three principles. Right, Jainism, Jain moral philosophies, three important principles or Triratna, three jewels. So the first thing is right faith or right contemplation. Right faith or contemplation, or it can be a right vision. You will find different words. In fact, all those eightfold path also have mentioned similar words you will get, because the both Jain and Buddhism, okay, written in a local language. In case of Jain, okay, it is in the Prakrit. In case of Buddhism, mostly it is written in Pali. Okay, so the English conversion you will have a different words. Okay, basically this is right faith, contemplation, or right vision. Second is right knowledge. So samyak drashti, samyak gyan. And then right action. Okay, so these are the three things: right faith, right knowledge, and right action. In fact, this action, what is an action? See, in case of four noble truths, the fourth one was also something which we had discussed, eight noble path. Now here in right action, there are 5 points. It's called as a 5 vows of Jainism, or 5 principles to be followed. In fact, these 5 principles are comparable to the 5 principles that we have discussed in case of Buddhism. Okay, so 5 principles. First is, yes, these are the some of the things which are same. First is ahimsa, that is non-violence. It is exactly same as that of the first principles there, to be things to be avoided. Second is satya. Satya, that is truthfulness. This is again the same, no lie, वहाँ पे लिखा था, that is satya. Third is asteya. Asteya. Asteya is no stealing. No stealing. So first 3 principles are exactly the same. That is ahimsa, that is non-violence. Second is no lie, that is truthfulness. And asteya, that is no stealing. The 4th and 5th are slightly different. Here there is a aparigraha. Aparigraha. What is aparigraha? No accumulation of wealth. No accumulation or no concentration of property. No accumulation of wealth. That is called aparigraha. So one of the important principle, Jain principle, that is aparigraha. You should take what is required. Okay, you should not accumulate it. What is needed for life, survival, and day-to-day things, you can take that much. But beyond that, there should not be accumulation of wealth. That is aparigraha. Again, it is against the materialism. Okay, and the last is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, that is a celibacy or chastity. Celibacy or chastity, that is a brahmacharya. Brahmacharya. Now you see here, in case of Hindu philosophy, we have seen calm, then we have seen there should be no sexual misconduct, and here it is completely a brahmacharya. In fact, this is basically 2 principles where for those who used to live in those sort of जो रहते हैं ना कि sadhus वगैरह उसके बीच में monks, okay, those who are living in chaityas, viharas, you know this chaitya vihara. Chaitya is for what and vihara is for what? Chaitya is used to be a monastery. Monastery के दो types है समझो. Monastery can be classified. This used to be in two types, chaitya and viharas. Chaitya where they used to carry out the prayers, and viharas where they used to stay. Okay, so those people who have abandoned their life and living in this, so these were the principles. So if you see, these are the three again most obvious principle for which the Buddhism and Jainism is known, and beyond that there is no concentration of wealth, that is aparigraha and brahmacharya. So these are the different aspects of Jainism. Buddhism and Jainism are known for their non-violence and truthfulness. So that's at least the universal acceptable principles that you should keep in mind. Okay. Apart from that, every religion again has some of the values, as I have discussed. In case of Christianity, there is a focus on compassion. In case of Sikh, we have discussed about the community kitchen. Okay, that is in the form of langar. In Islam, there is a principle of zakat, that is giving certain alms for the weakest section. Okay, so there are different religion and some of the principles you can remember. Okay, so that's about the religious aspects and the religious philosophies here, and you can quote as and when it is required. Okay, now let's move on to the next part, that is thinkers portion, that is Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, you can just write. Okay, so some of the things you should write what we are going to discuss here. Again, here there is Satya, truthfulness, Ahimsa, that is non-violence. And something called as Satyagraha. Then principle of means and ends, or continuity of means and ends. Then principle of need and greed. Then principle or philosophy of tolerance, particularly focus on the religious tolerance and cultural tolerance. Like tolerance, principle of tolerance. Then principle of Swaraj and concept of Ram Raj. And issue of what you can say that the constructive program करके लिखा, constructive program of Gandhi, constructive program of Gandhi. When he used to go for this constructive program, in bracket you can write Gandhi's socialism or Gandhi as a social reformer. The next you can write Gandhi's talisman and 7 sins of Gandhi. ये क्वेश्चन आया था कल, देखा है क्या? 7 sins. This was also asked yesterday. Okay, so some of the themes that we are going to do Gandhi in this way: Satya, Ahimsa, Satyagraha, principle of means and ends, principle of need and greed, okay, tolerance, Swaraj, constructive program, okay, and then, yes, different aspects, okay. So these are some of the things. Few things we have in fact done some other way, that is principle of need and greed kahan kiya tha? Have you done? Environment mein, okay, the earth has sufficient for the, yes, need of man, but not for the greed, okay. We have also done principle of means and ends, deontological ethics mein, okay. It's not the ends which is important, means are equally important as that of ends, and he has seen the essential continuity. That's why he has adopted the principle of non-violence to achieve the satyagraha, okay, or satya ahimsa. So his philosophy, he was again widely known as a moral philosopher, okay, and having a universal appeal with respect to his moral principles. Now first try and understand what is, see, things are not separated from each other. So some of the things I'm putting here collectively, like Satya is something which is a final goal that we have to achieve. Okay, what is the truth? During the time of independence, truth for Gandhi was that India is colonized by the Britishers, and Britishers are causing the exploitation. That was the truth, and therefore what is required to be achieved is Swaraj. Swaraj, that is independence. Swaraj, that is a self-rule. Okay. So what was the Satya? Satya during the time of independence was, there was a British authority, okay, and it was a exploitative. British authority was exploitative in nature, and therefore we have to remove the British authority by the self-rule, that is a Swaraj. This is a truth. So truth is something that one should adhere to. And to achieve the truth, we should adopt different means. Okay. Now there can be a moral means and there can be immoral and unethical means. But Gandhi, since his principle is there should be continuity between means and ends, so he would go for the moral means. And moral means here in this case was ahimsa. So he is going to apply the principle of ahimsa or non-violence in order to achieve the Swaraj, that is a final goal. So this is the essential different relationship between truth and ahimsa. Truth is something which we aspire for, and to aspire the truth, we should always follow the non-violent means. Like say for example, we have to remove the caste discrimination. The truth is there is exploitation and we should remove the caste discrimination. But again, it cannot be through the violence. It has to be essentially a non-violence. So in fact, this principle of means and ends was the basis of his life. That whatever the end is there, that's the truth, and means is ahimsa, okay, non-violence. Now he was not Satya and ahimsa is not original to Gandhi. It was not for the first time Mahatma Gandhi was telling to the world that how the Satya and ahimsa was important. Okay, just now we have spoken about Buddhism and Jainism. There is a lot of focus upon the ahimsa and Satya. In fact, Gandhi himself was inspired very much by the Buddhism and Jainist philosophy, and therefore he adopted this principle of non-violence. But still in contemporary times, the word Satya and ahimsa run synonymous with the Mahatma Gandhi, for the reason he has not only preached those principles, but he has practiced those principles. He has taken those philosophical components into action. So this is not original to Gandhi. This is in the form of idea and philosophy. This is idea and philosophy, but this is a practice of that philosophy. Okay, this is a practice, that is his experiment with truth, जो बोला जाता है. That is the principles of satyagraha. Satyagraha is a way of following. Like यहाँ पे जो मैंने बताया था कि there is a rule, that is a truth, independence. This is idea. We should follow ahimsa is an idea. Okay, there is a goal and we should follow non-violent method. There is only a philosophy of it, but satyagraha is ultimate manifestation through which, or a satyagraha is a method, practical method. Okay, satyagraha is a practical method. Okay, that is following the principles of non-violence in order to achieve the satya. The word satyagraha is a combination of two words. Satyagraha. So what is satyagraha? Satya is truth. Agraha is adherence to the truth. Adherence to the truth till the time you get it. Adherence or commitment to the truth till the time you get it. And essentially this method of satyagraha is going to be a non-violent one. Now, what are the tools of satyagraha and methods of satyagraha? In fact, his tools of satyagraha, he was started experimenting with the tools of satyagraha before he was coming back to India only. Okay, when he was in Africa, okay, there was racial discrimination. So, as the story goes, he went there as a part of his profession as a lawyer. So, when he goes into this Africa, like he was thrown out of the boogie train. Okay. Peter Marisburg करके जो place है, okay, so वहाँ पे he was thrown out, and that when he reached to the Africa, he has seen there was series of laws, discriminatory practices against the blacks by the Britishers. Okay, this was a racial discrimination. So he started fighting with the racial discrimination. That is again through the non-violent way, okay, against the Britishers. So there he started learning this methods of satyagraha, and through the methods of satyagraha he has achieved a lot of success in Africa, and then later on he brought in these methods of or tools of satyagraha in Indian freedom struggle. Okay, so therefore the gift of Gandhi to the world is not Satya Ahimsa as a philosophy, but satyagraha as a tools and the practical method of resolution of conflict. Now nowhere before the Gandhi people have thought that a conflict such as like a Britishers and enemy like Britishers also can be handled without the guns and bullets. Okay, somebody would have said that Britishers can be defeated without guns and bullets. People would have laughed, and that is what has happened with the Gandhi also. During the initial time when he came in 1917, he has spoken about his tools of satyagraha. So people were hard to believe that is there any tool that without guns, bullets, violence, conflicts with the Britishers, whether we can have a defense mechanism against the Britishers or not. But then his tools of satyagraha was applied into the different movements such as non-cooperation movement and the civil disobedience movements, etc., etc. So what were this tool? Okay, so write something about satyagraha so that you can remember. Satyagraha is a practical method. Satyagraha is a practical method adopted by Gandhi. Satyagraha is a practical method adopted by Gandhi in order to achieve the final goals. Satyagraha methods are essentially non-violent methods. It involves appeal to the moral conscience of enemy. Satyagraha involves appeal to the moral conscience of an enemy. Appeal to the moral conscience of enemy. The word satyagraha is a combination of the two words. The word satyagraha is a combination of two words. That is satya and agraha. Satya is truth. And agraha is adherence or relentlessly pursuing it. Adherence to commitment to truth. So, satyagraha in totality means, satyagraha in its totality means relentlessly pursuing the truth. Relentlessly means continuously. Satyagraha in totality means relentlessly pursuing the truth. Till the time you get it. it requires moral strength to follow the methods of satyagraha. It requires moral strength. It requires moral strength to use the tools of satyagraha. It requires moral strength to use the tools of satyagraha. Okay, because you have to endure pain also sometimes. Why? Because when you are making an appeal to the moral conscience, the enemy will not be melting immediately. Okay, it's a time that is required. So you have to have a patience. You have to have a control on your methods. At any point of time, you cannot lose your temperament and start using the violent methods. Okay, so examples likho in the next paragraph. That is examples and different methods. Examples and different methods or tools of satyagraha are. Examples and different methods of tools of satyagraha are. Okay. Yes, peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Fasting or hunger strike. Peaceful protest, fasting or hunger strike. Picketing or demonstration. Picketing, P-I-C-K-E-T, picketing or demonstrations. Then, non-cooperation. Non-cooperation with administration or non-cooperation with enemy. Next, civil disobedience. Civil disobedience. Civil disobedience. Okay, so these things were original to Gandhi, that how to apply these principles. These were all the non-violent. Civil disobedience or non-cooperation mein kya farak hai? What's the difference in between non-cooperation? In fact, this non-cooperative movement we have. In 1917, he has gone for the non-cooperation movement. 1929, he has gone for the civil disobedience movement. Yes, civil disobedience involves breaking the law. Non-cooperation is simply non-cooperating with the administration, Britishers. Like say, for example, he has made the appeal to the people that do not go into the school, resign from the, or do not go into the offices. Boycott. Essentially, it is a boycott. See, the thing is, boycott not only of the clothes, just generally we understand, boycott of every single atom of Britishers. So, boycotting is sort of a non-cooperation with the Britishers. Now, why this was a very successful tool during those days? Because the Britishers used to be ruled by a very small number of people who were British in origin. Okay, most of the administration used to be run by the maximum Indians. So if the Indians stop cooperating, it is virtually making the system and the administration paralyzed. Okay, your administration and the governance cannot run if the Indians will not cooperate with the Britishers. So this is how, in any case, even in case of civil disobedience, it is a more intense form. Now you are not only cooperating, but you are also breaking laws. But the breaking laws also, you should remember, it's a non-violent method of breaking the laws, like a salt satyagraha. Okay, in fact, civil disobedience movements has started with the salt satyagraha, where the Gandhi has gone for the Dandi March. And through the Dandi March, he has broken the law. In fact, his whole theory of was based upon the moral conscience. Moral conscience, like it is being said, that as it is a duty of a citizen to obey the just law, it is equally the duty of citizen to disobey the unjust law. Okay, obey the just law jitni important aapki duty hai, utni hi important duty aapko disobey the unjust law. So he thought that the salt and there's different types of laws were discriminatory. Therefore, he thought that it is not very correct to follow these laws. But essentially, his one component would be that at any point of time, non-violent will not be practiced. So even in case of breaking of the salt or breaking of the law, there has to be a civil disobedience. Civil, the word civil means you are not going to behave in an uncivilized manner. Civil disobedience. Disobey means to disobey the particular law. So these tools of satyagraha were there, and we have seen that eventually that where the means and the ends, okay, where essentially have been kept. There is essential continuity. Now there has been a lot of significance. In fact, one of the thing for which the Indian mass freedom struggle is known is it is essentially, okay, by and large it is a non-violent movement. One important thing is it was a mass movement, that each and every single section of the society has participated in the freedom struggle. And second important characteristics, it was essentially, by and large, we are saying, we are not saying that there will not be a single event of the violence, but by and large it was a non-violent satyagraha, which was based upon the Gandhian aspect of satyagraha as a practical tool of achieving the independence. Now he has appealed across, we are talking about the here ethics. So how the ethics has to be seen into it. The ethics in the contemporary time is whenever there is a conflict, so there are conflict management studies. So conflict management studies, there are two ways of generally resolving the conflict. One is with the use of force. That is, a group of people will use the force and will conquer over the other, and there is a resolution of conflicts. Second, about resolution of conflict is one can go through the non-violent methods also in order to resolve the conflicts. So his satyagraha tool has got a universal appeal also, and taking a cue from Indian freedom struggle and Gandhian methods of satyagraha, across the globe, various movements were made in order to achieve a sort of justice. Like, yes, can you tell some of the movement across the globe which has been used, the movements of non-violence and satyagraha? Yes, Martin Luther King is one. So Martin Luther King's movements, kya naam hai? There is a civil right movements. Okay, civil right movements. You can write, matlab thoda sa likh lo, significance of satyagraha. Significance of satyagraha. Satyagraha method is involved. Satyagraha methods are the non-violent methods. Satyagraha methods are the non-violent methods to achieve the justice, to achieve the goal of social justice or any kind of justice. Non-violent methods incorporate to achieve the goal of justice. Okay, these things have found the universal appeal. So some of the examples like Martin Luther King, kahan pe? Across the globe. Martin Luther King, a civil rights movement. Yes, we are coming to that. First is Martin Luther King. So Martin Luther King against civil rights movements against the blacks and whites, so black discrimination ke against. Okay. Yes, second, you can write Nelson Mandela. In fact, African national movement. Nelson Mandela. Okay. African national movement was based upon again tools of satyagraha and Gandhian method of non-violence. Yes, what else? Aung San Suu Kyi, pata hai? First write across the globe, then we'll come to the India also. Aung San Suu Kyi. Aung San Suu Kyi kahan ki hai? Myanmar. Okay. Aung San Suu Kyi. Aung San Suu Kyi. ऐसे है वो. Okay. That is a democratic movement in Myanmar. Democratic movement in Myanmar. In fact, yes, Tibetan leader, Dalai Lama, yes, he also followed the methods of non-violence, peace, cooperation. Dalai Lama. Okay. There are various, there is a person called Les Wałęsa in case of Poland. Poland Solidarity Movement karke workers movement thi. That also was essentially depends upon the Gandhian methods. Ram Sharmila, within India we will come. So, okay, so these are some of the things which we are seeing across the globe. In fact, the interesting point is each one of them is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Okay, and the Gandhi was denied the one. Whether it is a Martin Luther, Aung San Suu Kyi, Dalai Lama, Martin Luther, etc. But one of the things that rarely known to Indians is Gandhi himself was nominated 4 times for the Nobel Peace Prize. In fact, there was only 1 year in the Nobel history's timeline where the Nobel Peace Prize was not given to anyone. That is 1948. Okay, when there was a death of Gandhi. So death of Gandhi was the year where the Nobel Peace Prize was not given to anyone, okay, to commemorate the death of Gandhi. And many times when the Martin Luther was given and various Gandhian people who have been awarded Nobel Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize itself has said that the prize could not have given posthumously, because there is essentially a thing in the Nobel Peace Prize that it cannot be awarded after the death of a person. And the awarding this Martin Luther and others is a sort of a celebration of principles of non-violence. In fact, recently, 2nd of October under the United Nations has been, yes, now been commemorated as a International Non-Violence Day. Okay, so that's a sort of a thing. But apart from this explanation posthumously and etc., 4 times he was nominated and he was denied. There was a Western politics also. In a sense that think of at that point of time, the British में जो Winston Churchill and those who were the winners of Second World War. 1948 was the time where there was a conclusion of the Second World War has happened and some peaceful treaties were about to sign, etc. The India, which was one of the most important colonial colony for the Britishers, was got independent. Now think of awarding the person like Gandhi, who has fought against the Britishers, against the colonial empire, would have in fact exacerbated the crisis for the Britishers. Okay, there were India की colony खत्म हुई तो पूरा British राज खत्म नहीं हुआ था. Okay, because there were so many colonies which were intact. In fact, the South Africa itself got independent in कब 89 90. Okay, so around that, मतलब what I'm trying to say is even when they lost the colony, Indian colony, but they never wanted that a person from the third world country, okay, to be commemorated for something for which he has raised the voice. This would have again acted as a catalyst, okay, that is commemorating someone. So it was very difficult for us to imagine in way back in 1948, people in the Western societies would have commemorated someone from the third world countries fighting against the colonial ideas, colonial and imperialistic ideas. So there was a lot of politics, and we have seen that Nobel Peace Prize a little bit, there is always a controversies. But then later on the Nobel Peace Prize committee have said that the Gandhi could have done without Nobel Peace Prize because he was known for non-violence. But whenever there is a declaration of Peace Prize, there is always a question which will be asked. Why the person who has always defended the non-violent methods have denied the one? Okay, so that's issues with respect to it. But nonetheless, these all examples only take us to the fact that there is a principle of non-violence which has been upholded across the globe. Now, yes, coming to the back into the country, is what are the non-violent satyagraha tools which have been practiced in India? भारत रत्न आई डोंट नो, मतलब क्या बताऊं, मतलब अब वो है राष्ट्रपिता ही है तो नहीं दिया है, अब क्या है. Yes, there is nothing like explanation. This was more of a Nobel Peace Prize committee वाले explanation. तो राष्ट्रपिता ही बना दिया अब उनको. Yes, debated. Awards are always have the glimpses. Okay, government जो गवर्नमेंट के उनके glimpses रहते हैं, cultural glimpses रहते हैं, social glimpses रहते हैं, lot many things. Okay, yes, coming to in India, where you see the significance of tools of satyagraha in contemporary time. Yes. Okay, any peaceful protest. Okay, any peaceful protest you can say that, such as tribal movements. Yes, certainly that is a Lokpal ke that was a one. Iram Sharmila. आदिवासी के जितने प्रोटेस्ट है, आदिवासी which we are fighting, जैसे particularly in case of Chipko movement, yes, very important one, Sundarlal Bahugunal. Okay, so any kind of these things where we are, Narmada Bachao, yes, certainly, Medha Patkar. Okay, so some of the things where peaceful protest in order to raise the voice. So that's the component you should remember. And even in case of any kind of a conflict, so when we talk about the non-violence as a tool, so principle of satyagraha. Again, principle of satyagraha, the non-violent has to be an essential component. If there is a protest and vandalization of public property and laws and etc., so that's not something what the Gandhi has permitted. One. Second is when we say about the conscience as a moral basis to oppose the unjust society, you have to also see in contemporary times, in a democratic society, mostly the laws are made through the democratic process. So most of the laws are debated, deliberated, and then made. So there is a utility of satyagraha when there are certain obvious injustices happen. Okay, particularly these movements are related to all the social evils existing in society. Okay, fight against patriarchy. Okay, it's not in the form of protest you have to think about. It can be in the form of art, since it can be cultural, it can be drama, it can be persuasion, any form of the non-violent methods through which you are trying to raise the voice. Fight against the manual scavenging, fight against the caste discrimination, fight against the oppression, any kind of oppression. So these are the methods of satyagraha, and there are various ways into it. Okay, now let's move on to the next. That is means and ends. We have already done. Okay, that's about. In fact, means and ends may be thoda sa ek discuss kiya ja sakta hai. There are two essential, apart from what we have discussed so far, there are two broadly aspects of management of conflict, or there are two principles. One is called, I think I have explained, that is end justify. End justify means there is a one, and second is means is equally important or significant as end. That is, there is an essential continuity between means and end. In case of end justify means you achieve the thing, and you achieve the thing, whatever the end, once you achieved it, all the means are justified. All the means are justified means here the focus is not on the means, focus is on the end. So as long as you are achieving the end, you are successful, no matter whatever the means you apply. This school of thought is represented by the Kautilya and Machiavelli. Okay, Kautilya and Machiavelli. Have you heard his name? Machiavelli, Italian scholar. Kautilya and Machiavelli. Kautilya's group of thoughts, okay, that is represented in the form of Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed. Danda, Bhed. That is end justify means. Now Sam is a moral way, obviously. First you go for the Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed. Machiavelli. Machiavelli was an Indian scholar, and there is always a fashion to compare Machiavelli with the Kautilya. Okay, many a times you will come across that Kautilya was a Indian Machiavelli. But Nehru has said that no, it is wrong to call Kautilya as an Indian Machiavelli. Rather, we should call Machiavelli as a Western Kautilya, because Kautilya chronologically comes first. So in the discovery of India, he has made this correction that one should not call Kautilya as an Indian Machiavelli. Okay, call Machiavelli because his thoughts is first on the basis of chronology. But essentially, what is the point? End justifies means, in fact, they have freed from the moral means. These two scholars have freed the person from the moral means, in a sense that first you go for the Sam. Sam is moral means. Dam is, yes, bribe, offer money, etc. But you get your job done. Dand is use of force or coercion. Okay, and Bhed is divide and then. This is basically in expansion. Okay, these policies are foreign policy expansion के लिए उन्होंने बताया था, particularly related with Kautilya's philosophy. We will discuss more in case of when we will study the cases of corruption and good governance. When the good governance topic will be there, we will see some of the things. But here it is more related with this philosophy. It justifies meaning. Now here this school of thought where the means are equally moral. Okay, you cannot go for the Dam, Danda or Bhed. So this represented by the Gandhi. Okay, and for the Gandhi, means is equally important as that of end. One cannot claim the moral victory by adopting the immoral means. One cannot claim the moral victory by adopting immoral means. So he has adopted himself, that is a non-violence as a method, or satyagraha as a method to achieve the different ends. So that's the two schools of thoughts that you should know. Have you understood? Okay. In fact, this was a lot of debate, politics without ethics and politics with ethics. Okay, what is the relationship between the politics and ethics? So that's the thing. Now, means and ends, we have already discussed means and need and greed. Need and greed may, that day we have seen Gandhi's philosophy with respect to environmentalism, but you can apply this need and greed principle everywhere. Okay, need and greed. Need and greed as a philosophy, you can use it in environment. Environment में वो direct statement हमने किया था, the earth has sufficient for the need of man but not for the greed of man. So environment में need will lead into the judicious use of resources. Judicious use of resources. ये किया है already हमने. Optimal use of resources. Greed will lead into the over exploitation of resources. Okay, greed will lead into the over exploitation of resources. Need will lead into the optimal or judicious use of resources. Second is with respect to corruption, also you can link it. Okay, need will lead to the containment. Okay, containment, that is satisfaction. So whatever the amount of money that you earn through the legitimate ways, when you are guided by the need, there is a less chance of corruption because there is more containment. When there is a greed, you will be driven by the materialism, consumerism, and there is a scope for the corruption. Are you understanding? Greed will lead to the corruption, need will lead to the containment. So you can apply that apart from many other reasons for the corruption, one of the reasons for the corruption is greed component within an individual, and therefore one should be guided by the need. Okay. Likewise, you can use that is misuse of power and authority. When there is a greed of power, so obviously greed of power will lead into the adopting the immoral means in order to grab the power and use the power in your own self-interest. That is about the greed. Okay, you want to maintain and expand the power by whatever it takes. So naturally, क्या हो जाएगा कि आपको power expand करनी है. And you have to maintain the power. Expansion of power and maintenance of the power will require or force you to go for the adopting the immoral means. Need will, whatever the power that is given to you, authority given to you, you will legitimately use it. So you can apply these principles in different ways. Economics में apply कर सकते हो, politics में, corruption में, environment में. So there is a lot of things. In fact, the essay was there, which I was mentioning in the other class, that if the need is converted into greed, then it will danger the breed. Related with the violence and all that, you have to relate. Tolerance, we have already done. What is the definition of tolerance? Attitude of fairness towards one whose viewpoints, caste, creed, race, etc. are different than that of yours. Okay, he has emphasized on cultural tolerance, religious tolerance. Aspect of Swaraj and Ramraj. Swaraj is a self-government. Swaraj is a combination of two words, Swa plus Raj. That is a self-rule. Self-rule. In fact, he has favored the decentralization. Okay, he was not for the concentration of power. Okay, decentralization. Gandhi has always favored decentralization. And why it was a decentralization? Because he said that every individual is capable of ruling on himself. Okay, there should not be a external authority to rule on human beings. Every person is capable of ruling. So he has faith in the capacity of the masses. This decentralization is reflected in Article 40 of Indian Constitution. Okay, his thoughts. That is, yes, organization of village panchayat. DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, Article 40 is inspired on the basis of concept of Swaraj. Swaraj is self-rule. Self-rule is what is a self-rule require? Self-rule require decentralization of power. Decentralization of power. And so therefore he has favored the organization of village panchayat. He has favored the Gram Sabha. Okay, and this finally got reflected into 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, which has established PRIs, that is a Panchayati Raj institutions. Okay, so the Panchayati Raj institution is on the vision of Swaraj. Swaraj, that is a decentralization. Concentration of power. In fact, he has said that Congress party is also has become a morally corrupt and it has to be disbanded after the independence. Okay, because any form of an organization, there is a concentration of power. So whatever the modest objective with which your organization come into existence, after a period of time, those modest objectives are no more modest objectives. There's become a vested interest group of people will try to hijack the agenda. And therefore, any form of organization will develop a sort of an hierarchy. And once there is a hierarchy, then there will be a more command and obedience, command and authority. So he said that there cannot be a concentration of power, and therefore there has to be more and more decentralization. And village panchayat should be the real democracy. Okay, it's not the authoritative or centralized form of government. That's why sometimes he is also known as anarchist. The term used is moral anarchist. Moral anarchist इसलिए कहा जाता है. Anarchy is where state is not there. But he was a moral anarchist. The reason being why state should not be there, because if the state is there, state will be representing the concentration of power. Once there is a concentration of power, state is going to misuse the power, such as through the police and different law enforcement agency on its own people. So more and more decentralization is required, and therefore in this context, Panchayati Raj institution is something that we see that the glimpse of. In fact, within the Panchayati also there is a Gram Sabha, okay, where he has said that this Gram Sabha should get the status of parliament. Okay, these are the real parliaments where there is an actual participation of people. In fact, his vision of Swaraj is related with empowerment of people. Just now we have discussed in case of feminism. Okay, real empowerment is one where people should participate in decision-making process. So the Gram Sabha and decentralization will ensure that people, he has not favored the representative form of democracy. Okay, he was in favor of the direct democracy where there has to be a people and their authority. So that's about the Swaraj. Ram Rajya, his ideal vision. Okay, ideal vision of society. Ideal vision in a sense that something which is based upon the good governance. Okay, where the society is prosperous, where there is a equality, where there is a good governance. Among the society, there will not be any discrimination. Within society, there will not be discrimination. All are happy, prosperous, egalitarian society, where there is a less intervention from the state, or the state, if at all existing, state will work for the interest of public. Okay, state is a means and people's welfare is a end, and not the other way around, that the people are means and state or the government is a end. Have you understood this? Okay, so that's about the Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya was a vision. Now come to this part, that is what is the constructive program of Gandhi. Okay, that's right, constructive program. Okay. Constructive program. In fact, constructive program is an important aspect of his overall vision. It's, you can write Gandhian socialism, or Gandhi as a social reformer. As a social reformer. This I am giving in bracket because if at all such kind of questions will come in your GS and this thing, his glimpses of socialism and social reformer is observed during the phase of constructive program, where when he used to carry out all these programs, when he used to go through these programs, this is a very famous analysis of Gandhi. Okay, this is in the form of, it's called a struggle, truce, struggle, truce, struggle, truce. This was the period 1917, that is a non-cooperative movement. This was 1929, civil disobedience movement. This was 1942, that is a Quit India movement. Okay, these were the active movement phases of Indian freedom struggle. Okay, where there was a mass movement. Now, during two mass movement, there used to be a truce period. Okay, this is during the truce period, he used to get involved into the this constructive program. Now, this method is called as struggle truce struggle STS strategy. आप जब करोगे मॉडर्न इंडिया तब समझेगा आपको. जस्ट आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग. स्ट्रगल टू स्ट्रगल मतलब थोड़ा सा मूवमेंट करना है, फिर पॉज लेना है, फिर मूवमेंट करना है, फिर पॉज लेना है. दिस पॉज वाज एसेंशियल बिकॉज he knew that Indian freedom struggle is essentially a mass movement, or the mass will get exhausted after some period of time. Okay, everybody cannot be a Bhagat Singh that he will continue to fight till the death. Okay, he knew that the masses sacrificial tendencies is limited, and therefore we need to take a pause in order to re-energize the mass movement with a much fervor and energy so as to again upgrade to the next level. समझ में आया ट्रूस किस बात का है? केवल एक फैक्टर है कि थोड़ा सा पॉज चाहिए, because there will be a masses and masses our freedom fight was not with the soldiers. Soldiers were not fighting against the Britishers. So soldiers के केस में ये एक बार समझा जा सकता है कि there is more discipline, patriotism, there is more valor, courage, etc., etc. So they can continue to fight. But a normal man may not able to fight, and therefore we require certain rest in between. That is why the truce was there. But there were more important reason for the truce. The more important reason was he used to believe that as the Britisher is our enemy, there are many of the other social evils that exist within our society. What does it mean? Say, for example, tomorrow if the Britishers will go back, then the Indian society is also going to get, what you can say that, degraded in on a different lines, caste lines, communal lines, gender lines, rich and poor. There are so many divides that exist within the society, and unless and until we overcome these divides, we are not strong enough to make a strong nation. Okay, strong nation is not just the Britishers will go out. Okay, we have to also resolve the problems, and we have to make ourselves worthy of independence, so that if tomorrow Britishers will go back, we will emerge as a strong nation. Okay, so that's a constructive program. So what were the aspects of constructive? So first is why this constructive program, you should be very clear about it. What is reasons for it? That is, this was a mass movement, therefore pause is required. You need to resolve some of the internal conflicts. Third thing was, in fact, there was a divide and rule policy which was applied by the Britishers, which was dividing the enemy, so making the enemy weak. So if you want to fight with a strength against the enemy, so what is the first prerequisite? First prerequisite is you should not get divided amongst yourself. So he was there for the unification of the society, so that with a strong moral force. Essentially your fight was again non-violent fight, so you never had guns and bullets. So what is the most important strength of you is number. So more the number and the unity, more the pressure you can build upon the Britishers. Okay. Now what are the components of constructive program? Components. And in fact, these components has made him the Gandhi as a social reformer. So he has not only worked for the political independence of a country, but he was also worked for the social evils of the society. That's why one of the person famously said that whether the Gandhi was a politician who was trying to become a saint, or whether he was a saint who was sometimes trying to become a politician. Because during these phases, okay, Britisher would recognize him as a person who was on the forefront with respect to the political conflicts. But on these phases, they will observe him as more as a social reformer. Okay. So yes, what were the components? Kuch pata hai? First is Hindu-Muslim unity. Just write fast away. Hindu-Muslim unity. That is, he was working for the religious tolerance. Hindu-Muslim unity, the religious tolerance. In fact, if you know the non-cooperative movement, it was known as Khilafat non-cooperative movement. He was supporting the Khilafat and this thing, so Hindu-Muslim unity, because there was a divide and rule, though he was naturally. Second was with respect to caste. Okay, that is abolition of untouchability. Abolition of untouchability, famously known as his Harijan campaign. Harijan campaign. Abolition of untouchability, known as Harijan campaign. We'll come to that. First we'll see that. See, one is religious division, one is caste division. Gender discrimination was there. So women empowerment. Women empowerment. In fact, Gandhi is known as first feminist during the time of freedom struggle, because he was the one who has taken the women into the folds of freedom struggle. Okay, women empowerment, gender discrimination. In fact, this question was there in paper 1, if you have seen. Role of women during the phase of Gandhi. Okay, so this is a women empowerment. And बाकी और कौन सी रिच एंड पुअर का एक डिवाइड रहता है, दैट इज अ सर्वोदया. सर्वोदया, हिज प्रोग्राम ऑफ सर्वोदया और अंत्योदया. सर्वोदया and Antyodaya. This is a socialism. Sarvodaya. Sarvodaya is a combination of two words, Sarva and Uday. Uday is a upliftment. Sarva is all. So it is a upliftment of all. Sabka saath sabka vikas. Yes. Sarvodaya is a upliftment of all. Antyodaya is a, yes, last section. When we are saying all, you should not forget the weaker and the person in the last row. That is about the Antyodaya. Okay, weakest of all. Sarvodaya and Antyodaya. So, क्या क्या डिवाइड रहता है, जैसे this is all contemporarily also important because we have the religious divide, so we work for the communal tolerance. Caste divide, Harijan campaign, gender divide, women and rich and poor, that is he has worked for the equality. Okay, equality in a sense that Sarvodaya, that is the upliftment of all. In fact, this Vinoba Bhave, okay, who was the pioneer with this concept of Sarvodaya, during the, after the independence there was a land reform. So he was walking throughout the length and breadth of the country and appealing to the people who are holding the land. Okay, जो land reforms हुए थे immediately after the independence, they were based upon this. जिसके पास surplus land है, okay, that should be given and should be distributed among the landless poor people. Okay, so that's about the Sarvodaya. Apart from that, see, the fifth is self-sufficiency of villages. Self-sufficiency of villages. This was important because here during the political phase, uske kya the non-cooperation, civil disobedience. So it was essentially a boycott. Now boycott is of meaningless if you are not creating the alternatives. Okay, so immediately he used to come and sit on the charkha. Okay, so the charkha was because Swadeshi. Okay, Swadeshi component. You can only burn the Western clothes if you have something to wear. That is the Swadeshi atom. This debate is going on whether the Chinese atom should be there or should not be there. Unless and until you make the alternatives, Chinese alternative, how can you say that you will not be dependent on Chinese atom? So essential component is self-sufficiency of villages. Isme jo hai charkha, obviously khadi and village industries. His focus is to go back to the villages, make the villages self-sufficient. So if you are self-sufficient, naturally our dependence on the others will be reduced. So that's the thing. Apart from that, some of the social evils such as ban on liquor, consumption of liquor, thanks to the dry day, 2nd of October. Okay, ban on liquor. In fact, ban on liquor was the same जो Buddhism में बताया था, non-consumption of intoxicant, because he wanted to channelize the energy of youth into the right direction, because the freedom movement is going on, social issues were there, and if the youth are consuming alcohol and yes, relaxing, so how will you get the independence? So that was the component. So ban on the liquor, etc. Focus on the sanitation also. Swachh Bharat is because of this sanitation, okay, cleanliness. He said that cleanliness is next only to the godliness. Okay, these toilets are the modern temple sort of thing. Okay, so sanitation, that is a Swachh Bharat related component. In fact, sanitation was related with the Harijan campaign also, because one of the reason for continuation of untouchability is a situation, okay, of the untouchables there. So he promoted the sanitation so that people should get out of this notion, okay, that about the untouchability and the sanitation aspect. So these are some of the components during the time of his, and in fact related to the contemporary time also. So as and when it is required, so you can relate. And that's it. Gandhi's talisman, in your book you will get, NCERT का book है, तो पेज के ऊपर देख के आ जाओ. Okay, what is the Gandhi's talisman, by the way? Any decision, if you are confused what to do in life, so think of the most deplorable man that you have ever met in your life, poorest of poor that you have seen in your life. Take his situation into a consideration and think of if your decision is going to help him or if your decision is going to put him into the disadvantage. So that will be the final test for you to take the decision. So whenever you are in dilemma and in confusion while taking the decision, think of the weakest person, okay, deplorable person whose situation is very poor, etc., etc., situation of plight. And if your decision is going to help him, take that decision. That is a Gandhi's talisman. 7 sins we'll do tomorrow, okay? So that's it for the day. And we'll start tomorrow with the case studies also. Please come with the revision because we are going to do case studies. Okay, and this might take half an hour more, half an hour or 1 hour, and rest of the 2 hours we'll do the case studies. तो केस स्टडीज के लिए जितना अभी तक पढ़ा हुआ है थोड़ा बहुत आना चाहिए आपको. कोई